Have you ever looked at international headlines and just thought, none of this makes any strategic sense? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating report by the Geopolitical Economy Report that explores a highly provocative question. Is it possible that erratic U.S. foreign policy regarding Iran wasn't just chaotic diplomacy, but actually a calculated cover for massive financial manipulation? It's a compelling look at the intersection of geopolitics and Wall Street, and today we're going to break down exactly how this alleged system works. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is a quick look at our roadmap for today. 1. The strategy of confusion. 2. Market manipulation mechanics. 3. Insider trading allegations. 4. Big oil and Wall Street. And 5. A rich man's war. Let's get right to it. Section 1. The strategy of confusion. Decoding the chaos. So, to really grasp the financial mechanics at play here, we first have to look at the widely debated and seemingly chaotic nature of the administration's strategy against Iran. The report highlights a very specific behavioral pattern to set the stage. They point to a concept coined by University of Chicago political scientist Robert Pape, known as TACO, which stands for Trump Always Chickens Out. As the geopolitical analysis neutrally describes it, the administration showed a documented pattern of, honestly, incredible inconsistency. One day, you'd see extreme threats to totally obliterate Iran's infrastructure. And then, just a few days later, those threats are entirely reversed, with claims that a new diplomatic deal is right around the corner. Pape actually documented at least 5 distinct instances of this severe geopolitical whiplash. And this brilliantly illustrates where it gets interesting for financial analysts. They noticed a highly curious pattern regarding exactly when these policy shifts occurred. Aggressive social media posts threatening war were frequently timed for Friday afternoons, right as the U.S. stock markets were closing for the weekend, which obviously sparked market panic. Then, on Monday mornings, literally just as the markets reopened, the narrative would suddenly flip to canceling strikes and claiming peace, immediately reversing those market trends. So the crucial question here is, why does this happen? Is this just a complete lack of strategy? Now, some mainstream reports, like one from CNN that's cited in the analysis, suggest that might actually be the case, reporting that the Pentagon simply had no plan and was practically begging analysts for creative ideas. However, the material we're analyzing today presents a second, deeply financial explanation that this volatility is actually a highly calculated, highly profitable market manipulation tactic. Section 2. Market manipulation mechanics. Moving massive money. How exactly does a single geopolitical tweet move massive amounts of money? Let's demystify the economics, because the steps are actually surprisingly straightforward. Step 1, a threat is made against Iranian oil infrastructure. Step 2, the global market immediately anticipates that Iran will retaliate by hitting oil infrastructure in places like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Step 3, this fear causes global oil supply expectations to just plummet. And step 4, because the demand for oil is inelastic, meaning regardless of the price, you and I still have to put gas in our cars to drive to work, the price of crude oil instantly skyrockets. Basically, any threat to the supply causes an immediate and drastic price spike. Now, to manipulate this volatility, you'd use options trading. To put it simply, a put option is a bet that an asset's price will go down. A call option is a bet that an asset's price will go up. As the financial breakdown explains, if someone had advanced knowledge that the administration was about to threaten war on a Friday, they could buy massive call options on oil futures, betting the price will spike. Then, knowing a peace announcement is coming on Monday, they could buy put options, betting the price will fall. Buying these before the public even knows about a policy shift, well, that is textbook insider trading. Which brings us to Section 3, Insider Trading Allegations, Specific Allegations. The investigation relies on some heavy-hitting reporting by journalists Jeremy Scale and Ryan Grimm over at Dropsite News to point fingers at specific individuals. According to this report, during negotiations in Switzerland in June, Iranian officials explicitly warned U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance about the conduct of 2 U.S. envoys, real estate mogul Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner. The specific allegation detailed here is that Iranian officials felt the pair were way less interested in actual diplomacy and far more interested in exploiting insider knowledge of the talks to profit in the financial markets. Now, what's really staggering about this slide is the sheer scale of what is being alleged here. $9 billion. According to the original dossier, the Iranian government calculated that administration insiders allegedly made $9 billion from market manipulation in just a tiny 3-month window between March and June. Section 4. Big Oil and Wall Street. Corporate Profiteering. The documents make it very clear that this isn't just about a few political insiders. It details an absolutely jaw-dropping, broader arrangement. According to the investigation, Wall Street financial firms are allegedly paying $100,000 per month to the former president's company for early access to posts on his social media platform, Truth Social. Essentially, they are paying a massive premium to get a head start on market-moving geopolitical announcements before the general public sees them, ensuring their trades are placed just in time to catch the wave. And the source's broader argument here is that this is a systemic pattern of corruption across Washington and Wall Street, one that spans multiple administrations. Mainstream media has repeatedly reported on massive, highly suspicious options trades placed just hours before major policy announcements. Meanwhile, big oil corporations are raking in record-breaking profits directly due to the volatility and crises in the Middle East. And, just to show this isn't isolated to one party, the research points to a 2022 New York Times report from during the Biden administration, which found that nearly 1/5 of Congress engaged in stock trades with possible conflicts of interest. Finally, Section 5, A Rich Man's War, the ultimate thesis. Geopolitically, it's widely acknowledged, even by the editorial board of the New York Times, that the U.S. has strategically lost its broader maneuvering against Iran. However, the true outcome looks very, very different when viewed through a financial lens. The U.S. government might have lost the geopolitical war, but Wall Street, big oil, and wealthy insiders, they actually won the financial war. They made an absolute killing off the volatility. The original analysis concludes with this incredibly powerful thought that really frames the entire situation. Quote, "We are seeing the terminal, decadent phase of empire where the managers of the empire are simply cashing out." The argument here is that modern conflicts are no longer being dragged out for strategic national victories. Instead, they're being purposefully extended to serve as a rich man's war, generating endless opportunities for continuous market manipulation by the exact people running the system. Which leaves us with a final, very provocative question. If foreign policy is increasingly driven by insider trading and market manipulation, who is actually in charge of global security? It's a concept that really forces you to look at everyday headlines in a completely different light. I want to thank you for joining me for this focused explainer today. I highly encourage you to keep questioning the mechanics behind the news, look closely at who exactly profits from international chaos, and I'll see you in the next explainer.